Hello everyone, and I'm delighted to introduce our special guest of the month, Jeremy Langford, who is a glass artist.
And sculptor.
Hello Jeremy.
Hello there.
And this is your glass studio.
Yes.
And this is where everything that you do comes from here?
Yes. It's amazing the amount and size of work. Sometimes there's some huge glass sculptures. We get everything done out of here.
What is your latest project? What are you working on at the moment?
I'm doing a new sculpture for the Western Wall tunnels in Jerusalem, and quite a bit of work in America, in the United States. High-end condominiums, private residences, a couple of synagogues, even a beautiful sculpture for a private museum. When I say sculpture, it's not just sculpture I'm doing. I work in about 30 different glass making techniques, which is the sculpting, stacking glass, this sort of thing.
What's the stacking? So is one piece of glass on top of another, or what?
Yeah, each piece is individually shaped, cut, polished. This is the sort of thing that happens when people let me do what I want to do.
And the colouring and the
colouring, sometimes glass comes in sheets of glass which are coloured. Today there are thousands of different types of glass for artwork. The best is the European. It's called mouth-blown antique glass. It's really beautiful glass. And there's glass that we put the colours in ourselves. We sort of pigments and things like that.
So how do you relate to the design side of glass?
When I'm designing in an architectural setting, so as I said, I want to harmonize with the architecture, with the environment. I, at the same time, make my own statement, artistic statement, to working together there. And in many ways, I try to stretch the limits, sort of go beyond what I've already done and find the right language for that particular setting.
Actually roll your sleeves up and do the...
I am more today a director of a symphony orchestra. We have a staff of people who are extension of my creativity, let's put it that way. And therefore we can do with no limit to the range, scope, size of work that we can do.
Is there something special about your art that if I recognized it, once I got to know it, that I'd know that, oh, this is a Jeremy Langford? Is there something specific that you do, that you have?
Yes, there's in sculpture, yes. You will know that I have done it. There's a certain language with this sculpted, stacked and shaped polished glass. It's very specific, yes, the way I use it. We're using thin pieces of glass in order to allow this sort of almost sensuous expression to come into it. Yes, that's sort of very signature as far as I'm concerned, yes.
You obviously study the Kabbalah. Does this have some sort of inspiration for you, for your art?
Very much so, starting even from the basic medium. Glass starts from basically a lifeless material, which is sand. Sand is put through a process, let's say heat, pressure, and what comes out is this sort of crystalline, brittle but elastic material which transmits light. It has defined boundaries, but it's transparent. And I feel in many ways that's the state of man. We start out as on a base sort of egotistical level, and we have to refine ourselves until we get to a sort of a higher, more spiritual point, which is one of the basic tenets of Kabbalah.
Let's go back, Jeremy, to the Western Wall tunnels.
Basically, my brief there was to present the history of the Jewish people, but the original idea was just to use smoke and project names onto the smoke. That didn't work. So then they said, well, we need sculpture in here, and glass is the ideal medium. They checked all over the world for glass. I found nobody suitable. And then all of a sudden found me under their nose, and that was it. There was sort of love at first sight, and that's where it all started. I finished the work about a year ago, except for this extra work that's just been commissioned. We were working almost 5 years on the project.
And you did them there, or you actually...
4 years I worked here in the studio, and then basically we set up a cold glass studio at the Western Wall. I took it really as a very special art project, and you've got now modern art, 21st century modern art sculptures in today's language, in a setting There's some archaeological finds there 3,000 years old. And it's quite amazing. That juxtaposition of the ancient and the modern is just amazing.
Is there a problem with graven images?
Then we discuss the whole thing. If they want to say Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, if we're going to start drawing images of them, then somebody's going to get annoyed. And what we've seen in Denmark, we're just drawing the Mohammed cartoon. I mean, how the world's just sort of blowing up from that. So we had the foresight, 4 years before that, to say, okay, let's take this totally abstract. And we've got this sort of the center of Judaism, which is supposedly a very orthodox and conservative sort of place, where we have sort of, as I say, modern art, modern sculpture, in order to convey a message and to make sure that everybody is happy as far as no drawings or, as you say, graven images or whatever.
We'll be looking forward to seeing it and hearing about it.
Thank you.